client of ours, we did a website for first, which is usually how it works. We redo the site, then we turn on the market. We're like, hey, well, now what do we do? Obviously, it's the marketing. His exact words, I spent $75,000 last year with a quote-unquote marketing agency. I got zero phone calls and inquiries, zero.
We can only do so much. We see the numbers, we see the search terms, we see the campaign performance, the conversion rate. You see all those metrics, that's only half of it. What happens when those people are not qualified?
Yeah.
You need to be able to iterate.
If you're not willing to place the right individual or group into management, well, don't be in the management business.
I think that's the difference. When you have someone who has the experience and the track record, they're able to identify the problems much earlier on.
Mike?
Alex?
It's been a while since we sat down and chatted.
It has been.
You're too busy locked away in your office working all day long. So I brought up to you earlier this unfortunate scenario that a beloved client of ours has experienced recently. Not going to name who they are, of course. And long and the short of it, actually this company came across my radar, 6 months or so, and offered services to us, right? Hey, we're going to do this work for you. We'll give away too much here, but we're going to send out cold email, and we're going to call, and we're going to send postcards, and you're not going to believe how many appointments you're going to get, but we're not going to verify or guarantee that you're going to get any amount. This client, who is a contractor, signed up for a year agreement at a very significant price, $5,000 monthly. And guess what? 11 months in, has not gotten not one qualified lead with a $55,000 spend to date. I mean, I don't know what to say. You just got to cry.
This isn't the first time that I think either one of us have heard this type of scenario. I think the actual term is called vendor lock-in, where they'll get hooked and they'll sign some long-term agreement, and it's easy to start things off great, and then what happens? Said agency is secured, nothing to, the ability to drive, or the necessity to drive performance month after month kind of goes away, because they know that they're
getting paid irrespective of the result.
They have a contract secured.
What kind of company?
Be handed off to a junior.
What kind of company are you generally, promising too much and delivering zero, and on top of that causing financial loss to the customer and locking them into a contract? At the very least, have some basic minimum, you know what, you're right, we didn't perform. We're giving you unqualified people that could never have literally, she even said, they're telling me they didn't even want to have a conversation, but I'm still getting an appointment booked with me.
This is the one that did not have reporting? Or they did?
Goodness, I don't recall. There's so many of these stories, but I don't think they have much of anything. So, but what does one do? Again, look, the point of all of this is, I'm not saying that Google ads and Meta ads are the only way, right? But if you're an organization looking to spend money, you got a bit of a budget, right? You want to spend $5,000, $10,000 a month in something on a monthly basis, and you want some result. I think the point I want to make is the first money, I don't think, needs to be going to cold email, cold outbound telephone calls, and an attempt to book meetings with a group that's going to lock you in for a year and not provide a result. Turn on Google Ads, turn on Meta if possible, turn on both together preferably. And these people have intent. They're going to these biggest platforms. They're typing the query and they're coming to the website. Should that not be generally the first steps?
Look, cold phone calls, I think we know no one who's answering a cold call. And then cold email, best case scenario, you're getting a fraction of 1% on.
Is that what it is?
Actual response rate, which between the email filters and people it has to be one hell of a cold email to get a response.
Yeah.
I think some of the best client engagements that I've had are with the clients who are actively involved in some capacity. The term that we've used is done with you.
Mm-hmm.
We can only do so much. We see the numbers, we see the search terms, we see the campaign performance, the conversion rate. You see all those metrics. That's only half of it. What happens when those people are not qualified?
Yeah.
You need to be able to iterate. And for people and companies they don't need to have the platform knowledge, the experience, the understanding, but they have to have the business understanding
Yep.
of what's happening for the feedback on the
I was
other
going to say
side.
feedback loop, right? Are they quality? Are they not quality?
Look, e-commerce is easy. Someone's going to go to, they're going to click a link, they're going to go to from an ad, they're going to purchase or not. And then you can track the cart abandonment, etc. The lead gen, a whole separate component. Are they qualified? You can put certain filters in. People can, they say yes, they do this, they make
Ask
a phone
more
call.
questions, yeah.
Correct. But you still need to track from lead submission to actual acquisition or conversion of a paying client, paying customer, paying whatever. And you need that feedback somehow. And usually it's going to come from whoever's on the other side of the business.
Yep.
Hopefully when we get a chance at this, we'll get that feedback.
Look, it reminds me, a client of ours, we did a website for first, which is usually how it works. We redo the site, then we turn on the market. We're like, hey, well, now what do we do? Obviously, it's the marketing. His exact words, I spent $75,000 last year with a quote-unquote marketing agency. I got zero phone calls and inquiries, zero. We had success, thank God, month one.
Well, you see this from the web design. Again, Google Ads, slightly, it's probably the same barrier to entry. And you get some random guy. One day he's a cashier at a bank. The next day he's
Google Ads expert,
Google Ads expert, AI expert. It's
how can you be an AI expert when a thing is all new, right? Like,
right. If you're not a data scientist, I'm convinced you can't be an AI expert. Everyone's learning it at the same.
We're all learning it,
Which to me, I think the most fascinating part is that everyone who's deeply invested is learning today.
Yeah.
The same way that at one point you didn't know how to drive a car, you figured it out. You're messing around with it long enough, you'll get it. But it's, just seeing these people, I look back on TikTok and Instagram. A year ago, they're promoting crypto. Now, all of a sudden, they're the AI workflow automation expert.
Oh,
it's
not to go down a rabbit hole.
It's a crazy world.
I'm so interested in our own Google Ads. Like, again, expensive locally. It can be upwards of $100 a click, right? Fair statement for us, right? For my search, for certain terms. And when I look at some of the results, every one of them is some AI churned landing page with no depth, no nothing. They all look the same. Again, good in the sense of it's not some like horrific template that's a total piece of garbage, but also at the same time, really bad for the customer, right? Really bad for the customer, because when you have a service that cost to acquire that lead significant, right? $100 a click in this case. How many clicks do I need in order to get a lead? And you have somebody that thinks they're getting a custom website for $1,500. They're grossly misunderstanding what goes into it. It's very difficult to succeed. But anyway, coming back to the point of, like, I really believe. Look, I don't know what I don't know, right? And I take that philosophy in my life that the more I learn, the more I realize how much is yet to be learned. Whereas some, you get a little bit of experience, you're the knower of all things and, can solve every issue. I don't feel that way about us collectively, Sage. I feel like we come, we learn, we infuse the best that we possibly can. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's a matter of how you deal with the imperfections, I think, rather than trying to say we do all things well all the time. We only take on engagements that we believe we can succeed in. I think that's also a big benefit to our clients, right? Not everybody can say that. That company that, stole almost $60,000 from this lady so far, they didn't have the, I don't know what the right word is, ethical perspective, moral, whatever it is, to not do harm to her, right? If they knew they couldn't succeed or didn't think they really could, or had the benefit of like, hey, you know what? It's been a few months. We haven't done nothing. Let's probably cancel this thing. Sorry for the hassle. I mean, come on.
So that's the thing with the vendor lock-in is that they're secured. Most likely it got handed over to some junior post-college grad nephew of someone to sustain. Who knows? Maybe maybe not.
Or maybe just the whole process sucks, and maybe that's not the way to generate leads.
Look, it's not a win on every account. I think we have a good track record.
I was going to say the same.
Why? Because certainly better than most.
We're not taking the wrong engagements. That's what it is. When you don't take the wrong engagements, you have better success.
Some verticals just don't pan out for whatever reason. Sometimes you get into the ad auctions for Google or Meta ads, and then you find out that the cost per click is not what the tools reported, and your cost is 3x, 4x. And even at a successful campaign, sometimes the cost of conversion just doesn't make sense at that time.
I get it.
But often we'll see in certain verticals, all of a sudden, then the cost drops after a month or so. But that's why I think it's so critical that any sort of ongoing engagement, whether it's the website design development, someone's actively involved. I mean, we've had plenty of those where someone signs up, they get started, then radio silence for 9 months.
Yeah.
The marketing, the same thing. Someone needs to work. It's a partnership for a reason.
Yeah.
You're working with a vendor.
Leadership / management, etc. Team associated that's there in order to be involved. I totally agree with that.
And you know what? Maybe that's just for the custom work. Because if you're going to buy some product or if you're buying a template for $500, and that's what it is. You don't need,
I get it.
You're not going outside that framework. But
you want custom work, you need to be involved in the process, the feedback loop, like we said, and better result will come out of it. I agree. And again, just to strongly understate, if one is interested in spending money in digital marketing, please let it be in Google Ads, Meta Ads, managed by professional people that are paying attention to the details and not allowing days, weeks, months to go on with problems and horrific spend. I always remember the example I gave. We took over management of a real estate agent broker ads many years ago, and we're in Las Vegas. The guy is licensed in Las Vegas, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was $175 for a click for sell my home in Mexico. I mean, if that's not, I don't know what's the word, gross negligence at the minimum, right? Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Doing terrible harm to your customer, right? Crazy. So I'm just flabbergasted. I hear these stories. Maybe I shouldn't be anymore. I think you always think you've heard it all. You've heard every scenario so many times because you do something long enough, but I'm still shocked at the things of which I hear from time to time. And this was one of them.
I think that's the difference. When you have someone who has the experience and the track record, they're able to identify the problems much earlier on, which leads to better outcome in almost every case. And they're asking the right questions. And as a client, I think as you interview whoever, you start to understand who gets it and who's just doing it.
But it's tough, the client's perspective. They're hiring once or twice or three times. They have a nice sales pitch. Oh, they must be qualified, right? I'll tell you my look, what I know you already forgot, all right? My mother always says that. Like, someone once said to me, Alex, you're a reasonably smart guy. Why don't you just manage the ads? I'm like, are you joking? I couldn't even log into the platform. I mean, I'm joking, but not joking. But, like, it would be a abuse of my relationship and my duty to our client to not have professional oversight and not do what is necessary. If you're not willing to if you're not willing to place the right individual or group into management, well, don't be in the management business, right? Mm-hmm. I really believe that.
I think it's well said.
Don't take it on. Go do something else. You're doing harm to your customer, period.
Look, if you're, a one-man shop working out of your parents' basement, maybe it's not so easy.
I've said this before. Don't take it. Go find another job. I mean, it's just not right. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and the loss just amplifies when you're working with bigger customer, right? Like, not everybody's going to agree to lose $60K in a year just for some company to sell you a story, right? It's just unbelievable.
But that's where the advantage of working with a company that's going to do no vendor lock-in.
I agree.
You have to perform. I mean, how many months is someone going to go with a negative outcome before they say goodbye?
I just wouldn't take it on. I would say goodbye.
No,
first.
but I'm saying, like, as a company, if we went to hire a vendor and they could not perform, if there's there's nothing to hold them accountable. They have to perform. They have to pay attention.
I agree 100%.
I mean, if the money's guaranteed, they can do whatever they want.
That's
Maybe
right.
they will.
I have no desire to be entangled in relationships that aren't a fit for either way, right? From our side, from the client side, from both. I want to do good work. I want our clients to be satisfied. I want to know that we've done right by them. And again, by right by them means paying attention to the details and knowing that things are problematic in advance and fixing them or moving them in the right direction or testing something different, right, in order to see.
Look, when you told me about this client, I guess the first thing I thought of was this vendor lock-in that I keep coming back to. Having 1 month, 3 months at most of an ongoing notification. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's pretty standard in the industry of something. You need time to correct. You need time to see things out. 1 month is not necessarily
I agree with
an
that.
indicator of performance.
Especially not the first month. There's a ramp up. There's time. I get
But
it.
especially now with how quickly things are changing, the tools, the tool set, the approach, the channels, I think that by getting involved with those type of vendors puts the business at a disadvantage, because as things change, you need to have a partner that is changing with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Not necessarily you don't want to be necessarily the first one, but you certainly don't want to be the last one. And I think that's the tough part, because these people have big businesses. They're doing real business. They have other priorities. They have whole teams. You're trusting that the vendor that you choose is going to, like you said, do right.
Yep.
But you need some sort of accountability, and that's where the reporting, which not the fancy graphs, but here's what happened and here's what yielded from it,
Yes.
and here's what needs to happen. Your monthly check-ins. Both sides should be asking the right questions.
Yeah, I agree with that. But again, I said it before. The client doesn't. The client doesn't know. They have a business. They're a business owner. They're an operator, generally, right? And it's problematic when they don't know the questions to ask. Well, that's why they should be educated as to the questions to ask. And maybe a little bit of what we've discussed here can help someone make a better decision when given the time to, I don't know, sign a year agreement or something like that.
You don't know what you don't know. If anyone wants to reach out, I'll be happy to outline the questions that should be
that.
We'll add it to the bottom of the
Great.
blog post.
I think that's great.
Questions that should be asked. I think it's very important.
I think it is too.
You need to understand what questions to ask.
Things are
and
just
what to
so
look
much
at.
more fast-paced now than ever, right? Like, think about it.
Well, it's not so direct. It's not you're clicking on an ad, going to some funnel opt-in squeeze page, and then converting. It's you're going to Google, you're doing the website, you're seeing them on Instagram, you're seeing them on Facebook, you get an email, maybe a text message. It's the whole funnel approach. It's not so easy.
I agree.
But you have to look at the channels independently and then together.
It's always a great pleasure to speak with you, and we should do this more frequently.
We should have this lovely studio.
Yes. Thank you.